Ever so slightly. What did you get on that?
We're not very good. We were bad.
Unless you get a different release. That's the only thing. Because that curl board.
Do you guys have any that slide really good in practice?
I never.
I guess maybe back to the 7.
What?
Kind of like keep the 7.
Yeah.
Or keep the 6.
She says I like the penguins.
Good game. Cool. Where's it go? Yeah, bud. I don't know what it does. A little grip.
Now I'm paranoid.
Like even when I threw those 2 in the first, remember I said lead it, Chad?
Yeah.
The 8 came
Slowed
through.
up. Yeah. 2 feet
The
short.
line was perfect, but
All right, I think we're up and going. We're just saying hi to everybody watching downstairs. Welcome to the last round robin men's draw of the 2016 East Coast Credit Union Tankard. We have a big matchup today featuring Team Stevens and Team Thompson. My name is Selena Thompson, and I'm joined by Carly Jones on the broadcast today. Hi, Carly.
Hi, how's it going, Selena?
It's great. We've got some awesome matchups right now. On sheet 3, obviously you're watching this one. Thompson-Stevens has major playoff implications, mostly for Team Thompson. So Team Stevens sitting at 6-0. They've qualified for the final already. There's no other undefeated team, and the only other one that could match their record if they happen to lose here is the team they've beaten. That's Team Adams. So Team Stevens in the final. Team Thompson at 4-2, looking to make it into the playoffs here. Need a win to avoid any kind of a messy situation with hopes for losses from other teams. They're at the same record as Team Murphy at 4-2, and Murphy in another big game against Sean Adams on sheet 4. So that's our other live stream. So if you're looking to see some awesome games, I think you'll find them on both our feature sheets. And of course, if you're not watching these and you're paying attention to the other games, McDougall Dexter on sheet 2 or McLeod Danbrook on sheet 5, then you can catch those on nscurl.com for the live scores.
Yeah, absolutely. For the Stu Thompson rink, their fate's in their own hands now. A win will either guarantee them a spot in the semifinal or get them at least a tiebreaker. So they'll definitely be looking for the W. It'll be a little bit tricky for them not to, glance over at the Murphy-Adams game once in a while and just see what's going on. So basically, we're trying to figure out all the scenarios earlier. And as you were saying, the Stevens rink, no matter what, is guaranteed a spot in the final. Now, if the Thompson rink and Murphy rink both win, there will be a 3-way tie at 5-2, for which whoever has the best draw the button. So each team, they draw to the button for a hammer, and those draws, however close they are to the button, the measurements are taken into consideration to determine who would get that bye into the semifinal, and then the 2 teams that were below that would play off for that 3rd spot.
Exactly. I've heard some discussion of those draw to the button numbers. I don't know the finals or if there's any one that's clear, but we'll keep you posted. You can always check out nscurl.com and you'll see the lineup for tomorrow. And we have a Facebook event page as well. You can look up 2016 Nova Scotia Men's and Women's Curling Championships, and you can find the details there of the games tomorrow. If there does happen to be a tiebreaker, that'll be tomorrow. That's Saturday morning, and we'll keep you posted on the time.
With respect to other scenarios that could happen, if both Thompson and Murphy were to lose, then there would be a tiebreaker for the 3rd spot between Thompson and Murphy. And now if Thompson were to lose and Murphy wins, then Murphy would secure a 3rd spot, and vice versa. If Murphy were to lose and Thompson were to win, Thompson would secure that 3rd spot.
Absolutely. So they need the same... They need to win and hope that the other one loses in order to guarantee themselves a spot in the semifinals. So all the other teams out on the ice on sheets 2 and 5 out of playoff contention, but still playing for their record. and expect those to be good games as well. We've got a very busy club here this afternoon. I think it's the busiest I've seen it yet, and expecting even more out for the women's draw, their final round robin tonight. That's at 8 p.m.
Yeah, I think we'll see a lot of people, especially for this draw, as it is the last men's round robin draw. We'll see a lot of people make their way here after work today and come check out the action. As you can see, you have a great view of behind the glass downstairs. Just filled with people right now. We've got a good crowd upstairs as well. So it's great to see so many people come out and watch and check out what's going on down here.
And it's still only $5 to get in tonight. It switches to $10 tomorrow and Sunday. So you can still get a pass for $25 that lets you into all games. And if the parking's tight at the Mayflower on Monaghan Drive in North End Halifax, there is a parking lot across the street that's going to be available all weekend. The gate will be up. So please come join us. It should be some great games. And I should mention thank you to Bell Alliant TV1, who's providing the streaming of all of these broadcasts, and our friends at 45 North who have done such a great job. And I think they're getting really good at reading the curling scoreboards.
Yeah, they're getting really, really good in between coverage here, coverage last year, and coverage during a number of events here in the city as well. They were here earlier this year for the Dave Jones Mayflower Cash Spiel back in November. So yeah, it's fantastic that they give us this opportunity to broadcast the best curling in Nova Scotia. So
sure thing.
Thank them for that.
Now, as we're on to we're already on to third stones here. It's been a bit of an open end, so maybe we should introduce the teams, Carly.
Absolutely. So, as we said before, it's the Chad Stevens rink up against the Stuart Thompson rink. So the Chad Stevens rink consists of Chad Stevens, who's in the hack right now, and he actually throws mate stones with Paul Flemming, who is the mate but throws skip stones. And on the front end, we have Kelly Mittelstadt, who plays the lead, and he's on the left on your picture, and Cameron MacKenzie, who throws second stones. I'll let you introduce the Stuart Thompson rink.
Sure thing. Any reason for that? No.
Well, it turns out that the skip of the Stuart Thompson rink is Selena's brother. So.
Yes, that is correct. And so rounding out his team, Stuart's the skip, and his shots will be coming up soon. We've got Alex MacNeil, who throws the lead stones. Travis Colter is the second. Colten Steele is third. And this is actually a team that's made up of two former junior teams. Stuart and Alex played together for a couple of years, 2012, 2013, winning the junior provincials. And Colten and Travis played together, I think, in those two same years, coming runner-up in those events. So lots of experience, and this is their first year together. And their coach, I should mention, Kevin Patterson as well. You may see him if they take a time out. He'll come out to the ice.
And sorry, Selena, I had to leave there for a second, but Cameron, I don't know if you had mentioned Cameron MacKenzie, who also happened to play juniors with both Stuart and Colten, flip-flopping between teams at one point. So these guys definitely aren't any strangers to each other. So. As well, Cameron's been playing with Chad for, I believe, about 3 years now. And Paul's new to the team. And Kelly Mittelstadt as well is new to the team, who played lead for the Fitzner LeBlanc rink for a number of years.
So a nice run back there from Chad after a great come around from Alex. I think Chad's draw came up a bit short and left that open, but he made sure to make his second shot, which is arguably a lot more difficult, a run back versus an open draw to the house. So we're down to skip stones here. Team Stevens throwing the Yellow Rocks has hammer.
Yeah, it looks like he can see about 2/3 of this stone, so just be looking to hit it and roll over to the open side.
Interested to watch this sheet. There's been a few picks I think I've noticed on this sheet more than some of the other ones. So be curious to watch the rocks and see what the teams do with them. Sometimes teams will If they think there's one rock that's slower or has a tendency to catch the ice a bit more, they'll throw that as a hit. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. I'm sure the teams are as well.
Yeah, and I mean, these rocks, they're the Nova Scotia provincial rocks, and they never switch the handles on them. So a lot of these players are familiar with these rocks, and they know if there's a rock that, you know, reacts a bit differently to the ice surface, they usually have a note made about it prior to the game as well. So rock management definitely comes into play with these guys, especially when they, you know, use these rocks more often than not. So.
So Paul Flemming throwing. There's a good reason why this team Stevens has a 6-0 record so far. And every time I think I've looked over, and haven't called a game that they've played actually, but every time I've looked over and seen Paul shooting a difficult throw, he makes it. So you're going to win a lot of games if that's the way your fourth rock thrower is playing. Oh,
yeah, especially like this week. Paul Flemming, he's such a great curler, but he's really turned it up this week, and he's making everything. So it's great to watch.
Same shot for Stuart here. Paul didn't get any kind of flop underneath the guard, so this is just an open hit. Same as he would have thrown on his first. Actually see the whole rock instead of only part of it. Alex MacNeil trying to make sure it gets as much of that rock as possible, using some of that directional sweeping that we've talked about so much this week, just sweeping with the direction of curl in order to maximize the amount that it crosses the face of the stone. So we'll see a blank attempt here from Paul Flemming in order to retain hammer going into the second end.
It's awesome to see Paul throw with the brownie broom still.
Yeah, you don't see many of those. I think that's a 10-incher there, and not many people throw with those anymore. Certainly don't sweep with them.
No.
Be a little dirty. So a successful blank attempt, or successful blank end there from Team Stevens. So no score yet, and going into end two, Stevens will keep the hammer, so Alex MacNeil will throw first. Looks like Stuart here is, I think he's called this in. I think that was the indication, was into the house. So they're looking to, oh, he's moving up front. So yeah, no, it's a center guard. Want to make sure to get this pretty far toward the rings. Don't want to leave a high guard. It's easy for the other team to come around, and there's always run backs to be played later on in the end. So you'd like that to be tight to the rings. Ideally, that'd be a little tighter. So Chad's just going to ask Kelly Mittelstadt to go around. Kelly, no stranger to high-pressure games and high-pressure situations. He's former Nova Scotia champion, Brier participant.
Brier runner-up, actually.
Brier runner-up,
I forget
yes,
which year,
you're right.
but he was part of the Sean Adams rink.
Yeah, I think that was 2005, yes. Solid front-end player. He's never that far off.
I believe Paul Flemming was part of that rink as well, along with one of the Burgeye.
Yeah, that would have been Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 10 years ago, so And then, of course, they bring on Cameron MacKenzie, who's also been to the junior nationals, not at the men's level, just a couple years in.
And Chad himself, although he's never won a provincial men's title, he's actually competed at the national level for the firefighters. And I went to a number of national championships for Nova Scotia with them. So they all definitely have experience at the national level, just in, different types of competitions and whatnot. So it's kind of neat to have everyone bring their own different experiences to the team.
That's a bit strange there for Kelly to have those two stones coming that deep in the house. His first one went to the back 12, and the second one there, it's hard to come around to top 8 stone, but I would have expected him to be in the 4-foot there. Sweepers didn't help that out at all to bring it back, so
yeah,
not sure why that's happening, but it could be the stones and just trying to learn the ice. We had practice, but of course we threw hits in the first end, and things have changed a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, after Kelly's first shot, we did see Alex throw another one around there, and sometimes, even though if you are adjusting and taking off the weight that you need to get in the top 4 for the area, just sometimes that extra rock going down that path can get that much more quicker. So he probably did adjust as he felt necessary, but just because that one extra rock went over there, he went deeper than he expected. So yeah. It's always tough in the first couple ends, with all these fresh paths. You just don't necessarily know how your rocks are going to react until later on in the game.
Chad not liking the front situation, so he's asking Cameron just to peel this out. Over curled, and he'll leave the shooter out front, but sort of acting as a corner guard. Stuart will just ask Travis to replace that, of course. They're sitting 1-2, Team Thompson. 4 foot's open for Paul on his last shot for Team Stevens, but they'd like to have a shot at a couple here, so we'll see some more up weights. Alex working this to get it to the center line. They want to cross the center line, of course, to cover the stone they have in the rings. Guard's not much good if it's not covering your shot stone. Left a piece of it open, so Cameron MacKenzie will try and access the top 8 stone. Throwing a down weight instead of like he specified hack to try and keep the shooter around.
Just gets through the hole. So it looks like he's saying shot stone for now. Ending 8 foot. It looks like it's pretty wide open for the most part.
Couple options for Team Thompson here. They have to be aware that there are a few yellows hanging around the back of the rings, and despite the fact that blue is second and third, they're behind the tee line, not in great scoring or stealing positions, and not really that great for a force either. There's lots of room to come around into the 4 foot, so Colten Steele being asked to remove the shot stone. They'll look for a little bit of a roll to the inside. This one got to play it tight to the guard.
Just nudges it. They really tried to hold that one. It just didn't get by.
Just need to touch more ice there. I saw a game on this sheet earlier this morning, and the teams, it always looked really good for draws or any kind of soft weight hits. And a couple of the teams got caught up because they would let the line go, and then it would really take off, similar to that. So even with that kind of hack or board weight that Colten threw. Caught the curl. did tick the guard, though, didn't miss it wide and flash everything. So that shot will be available again.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're not going to make the shot, you at least want your stone to be useful in some way. You want it to at least keep your options open, and just especially when you get this close to the end of the end, you want Stuart to have something on his last as well.
So with that freeze from Chad coming down to the backing, bumped the shot stone a little bit. Starting to bring these yellows into play here. Starts to be look a little worrisome for Team Thompson. You got to make sure you put your stones in good positions. The same freeze is available. That really is going to cut down the scoring area. You can freeze it right on the rock or put it behind the guard at the top of the 4 foot. There's lots of backing. So there's a little bit of margin for weight here, a couple feet, and the sweepers can do a lot to help that too, depending on what the line's looking like. If it's going to be buried perfectly, then you may just leave it a little higher in the rings, block the draw path for Paul's shots. Sweepers knew they had to go on that, so they held the line wide a little bit.
Looks like he got there for second shot from this angle. We would like that to come a little bit deeper, I think.
Absolutely. Good judge from the sweepers. They knew they had to go on it. Unfortunately, that leaves it peeking out a little bit. It's a rock that can be promoted. And Stuart, of course, still has the hit on that left that Colten had attempted as well. But for Team Stevens here, he may be able to pick that blue stone through the hole, but it won't leave them with anything better than what they had after the last one. So I think they're opting for clearing out the front a little bit, and this is a good option. I like this call.
I definitely like this call too, especially when you have hammer, and you have to say it all the time, is you need to make sure your skip has access to the 4 foot area on their last one. So even though they're sitting one right now, I think this is a great call to, just ensure that they're going to score and keep the 2 alive as well.
Yeah, they're definitely bringing a multiple into play that way. As you can see, if there's anything that pushes those blue stones around, maybe makes a double on or even just shoots that top blue through the hole at the back, yellow's going to get a couple. So Stuart doesn't have much of a choice. He can't really keep guarding. He'll hit this, try and make a roll into the 4 foot area.
Yeah, I think you'd just like to, roll just a little bit behind that guard that's still up there. There is a yellow guard up in the front. And I think with that, they'll put him in decent positioning for whether a steal position or at least a force, which both you'd be happy with.
Stuart has a bit more weight than Colten had, so may have overcalled the line a little bit here. Getting an outside roll, so not what they wanted at all.
Yeah, no, definitely don't think that that's what they wanted. It'll be interesting to see what the Stevens rink decides to do here. My first gut told me to play the hit and roll on that blue, as Cameron just notioned that. But that you are, if it doesn't curl away, you expect you are risking the jam. That's what my gut was telling me at first, feels like that's the right shot. The draw also is an option. However, you are leaving that blue stone there to be, as you said earlier, Selena, promote it to the 4 foot and or button area.
I agree. I think if you leave that blue there, it's no question Stuart will have to make a play on it. If you're burying this, it gives you the chance to get the most possible points, and this Stevens team is not scared of playing aggressively and making the big shot at the end. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they're playing this. I mean, if they play this and they make the roll perfectly, I think you would see Stuart probably play a freeze or some sort of tap back on those yellows are in the back forefoot. But I mean, with the big weight that these guys can throw, I feel that Paul would be able to blast it out anyway and probably get 2 or 3. So interesting call to play the draw.
Needs to come pretty close to the forefoot in case he doesn't remove the back blue stones. He's going to have a hit on his last, Paul will, but they'll want this one to be probably biting the forefoot, I think.
Yeah, biting the forefoot would be good. I definitely don't want behind tee line. That's a great shot.
I just wanted to make sure what we needed to sit to.
That's what I said.
I know, I couldn't hear you. I said they're 4 inches in front of the floor.
That's what I said.
It's a good spot. It puts Team Thompson in trouble. They do have a tap. We're looking at that blue stone in the back is not really in play, and Stuart can actually make a double or a thick hit and roll actually to sort of freeze onto the back forefoot yellow.
Do you think if he plays the Selena that he'll be able to, get a little spin off the top of it and roll into be shot rock?
I think so, absolutely. To do that, I think you probably have to hit about 2/3. We're not on the.
Yeah, it's definitely not a thin one. You got to hit it pretty thick with a lot of weight, I think. So
yeah,
I think
we're calling negative ice here. Stuart can throw the weight, and sweepers can hold it. So let's see. So he's trying to hit his own blue, come off the yellow, and roll up into the forefoot button area.
Really gotta go. It's not too bad actually. At least he's sitting second, and I believe he's sitting third and fourth. So the most that Stevens rink will be able to get here is 2. It really did look like he was going to sail by it. So
yeah, it really took off. There would be. We've seen Paul make them a triple, except that yellow stone at the side is a jam rock for the blue that would be hit on the top 8 foot. So that's not there in case someone's looking for a big weight. So I said Paul's going to have a hit on his last, and here he has the same draw that he just threw. What do I know?
doesn't matter how you get there. You just get there the way you get there.
Yeah, Stuart wasn't far off on that shot. Just a little bit thicker. Needed to catch the sweep a bit earlier.
Yeah, I can't believe how much it took off on him, especially with the camera angle we had. You could really see it cutting. It was, for that kind of weight, it's not often you see rocks jump like that.
So draw for 2 here. Paul Flemming. Sweepers don't really want to leave it all alone, but it's on the blue rock right now. Just need a little bit of curl to get it past. Unable to get there, though. Weight was pretty good. So that'll be disappointing. Only 1 point for Team Stevens. They'll take a 1-0 lead.
I'm really surprised. I mean, he just threw that. The weight looked extremely similar. I'm surprised that ran the way it did. Maybe he just threw it a bit wider than he expected. But
yeah, it just hung a bit longer.
Yeah.
And with the amount of curl we saw on his on Paul's first shot that end, cleared the guard by a bunch and got completely buried. That one just didn't react in the same way. So there must have been something different, and we don't have as keen eyes up here as they do out on the ice. So we'll switch the hammer. Team Thompson will have hammer in the third end. Maybe we should give you some updates if you're not looking on nscurl.com. On sheet 2, Dexter McDougall. Dexter took 1 in the first. 1-0 lead. We don't know the score in the second end, but they're playing the third. The Murphy-Adams game. Jamie Murphy up 1-0 1-0 on Sean Adams. Same situation, haven't posted the score for the second. And Glenn McLeod, Jamie Danbrook. McLeod took blanked the first and took one in the second. So a 1-0 lead, playing 3. Chad came out to help there. We got the elusive sweeper, or skipper sweep. Running joke among curlers.
I like it when you see all 3 of them get in on there, and you're just like, well, we know the third sweeper doesn't do anything.
Based on directional sweeping, the second sweeper doesn't do that much, except for
counteract
for a little bit of distance, but
yeah.
counteract the curl. So a third sweeper's got to be doing nothing. Maybe just getting a little bit of exercise. I don't know.
Keeping warm. It's cold out there when you're skipping.
It does. Team morale, too. Sometimes that's the biggest thing, actually, to have a fresh set of arms come out. Usually you'd switch off your new sweeper for one of the ones that have been sweeping between the hog lines. So corner guard for Team Thompson, and Kelly Mittelstadt will guard his first stone. His first stone's in a great position. Top 8 foot just biting the 4. I like that call. If you know that the other team's going to put up the corner guard, you put your first stone in. Chad had a pretty good idea that Stuart's going to play into it. Now that rock's over curled, though, it's a great opportunity for Alex MacNeil to freeze onto the shot stone.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what teams do. A lot of teams, if the Stevens rink had gotten it right in the 4 foot or on the button, a lot of teams would hit that stone just because once it's protected, you're going to be chasing it the whole end. So it's interesting to see how hard teams actually play and if they will throw that corner guard and ignore the rock in the house.
Good sweeping, got that by. Actually got to the nose almost.
Yeah, it's a great shot.
So Team Stevens likes that those rocks are not frozen. They'll just put another guard up. Some fancy moves from Kelly Mittelstadt. Sometimes with the new sweeping, you got the one sweeper just switches sides.
We've had a couple
takes
times.
Care of both.
Yeah, usually, as far as I understand, they'll try to have, when they have the person that's directionally sweeping to make the rock curl, they'll oftentimes have, say, a hair broom versus the synthetic. So sometimes you'll even see teams, exchanging brooms midway through when the rock is going down.
If it really needs the curl, absolutely. Looking for a peel, but not the way it was just thrown there from Travis. Wanting to keep the shooter on that and hit the first stone a lot thicker. We'll probably have a second shot at it, but I think Chad's adjusted the ice so we won't have the same stagger on the guards here. Couple of guards for a second stone is not usually what we see. They're usually known as the player that's making peels and taps and draws. So the same shot is available. There's a little more distance between the stones now. So Travis Colter will see what he can do on his second attempt. Actually removed his own stone with that, so he's just setting those out a bit. Stuart's got the broom in the center of the rock, and Travis is hitting them well to the left of center.
It's just it's so tough on this ice, right? Because we know you're going to have rocks that curl a lot, so you want to make sure you are being nice and positive. But there is a point, especially when you're throwing that big weight, that you can almost be a little too positive, and then you get rocks that run way straighter than you're expecting, and then that happens, as you just saw.
Sweepers don't want to touch this one. It's coming a little deep. Settles halfway. Doesn't quite cross over, but does cover the rocks in the house. So I think we'll see a change here. There is a double peel available. We're on to mate rocks. I like the fact that there's a good stagger, and you can you may be able to get action on the stones in the house with this and lose all the yellows.
Oh yeah,
be a pretty
absolutely.
impressive shot if
you don't lose all. Yeah, exactly. Where you can, if you hit this high enough, I think you're going to see across the face of that yellow stone and drive right into that blue stone in the 8-foot.
They played it the other way, to leave their stone in front. So now there'll only be one guard for Team Stevens, and that's a lonely looking, well, not a lonely looking yellow. There's only one other blue with it, but Chad could make a play to get everything, lose everything, and just make a hit on all the rocks. You risk losing your own yellows if you ever hit it wrong, so they'll guard.
Yeah, and every team plays to win no matter what, and we already know that the Chad Stevens rink is guaranteed the final. But I mean, for these guys, like, they know they're guaranteed, so maybe they're just going to be a little bit more aggressive and go for the steal and say, you know what, let's just put this to bed now and try to get this over with.
It's excellent practice for them. They're in the final. They won't have to play tomorrow, so it's a good chance to get some pressure play in. They know Team Thompson's playing to win.
Yeah, I think if the circumstances were a bit different, say if it was the other way around, you might have maybe seen Chad Stevens rank play the hit on the blue one instead, and
I think so.
Yeah.
Tankard settles just high halfway, and
Stuart's not too sure.
What can you see? So the problem is to
I've got a little bit on the upstream side.
I think that guard's high enough Selena that if you play like a back line a hack weight at this, I think you can play tight enough to the guard that you could almost get to the nose of that blue stone and move the yellow one back enough to be sitting 1 or 2.
I think you're right, Carla. The issue would be if you wanted to play a shot that's kind of either or, so you either hit the one in the rings or you peel out the guard. You can't play that weight with this shot, so they have to be careful. This one's taken off. If Alex can get it by, looks good.
It's by. It looked like at that point they're just sweeping it for weights. I think they realized, we're not going to bump this yellow one as far back as we thought. So I was at first surprised that Travis was still sweeping it, because it did look like it had to curl a bit, but judging by how much they hit of it, it looks like they were just looking to move it back a bit more.
Yeah, well, Travis would have been sweeping with the curl too, right, to get it the last bit of curl. So that would be the reason he was sweeping instead of Alex on the left side that we were looking at. So there's a stagger on the blues. It's not easy for Team Thompson to access that shot stone, with the exception of some kind of play on the intern side. So that's what Team Stevens will guard right now. Bit unfortunate that the weight wasn't quite there for Colten's shot. The line was pretty good, made contact with the yellow, and just needed to push it a few more feet. Not an easy shot. So a tight guard from Paul here on his first and the third. exactly where they wanted it. If Stuart wants to play the double peel and give himself something on his last, he risks running those yellows into the ones in the rings. He can play that blue. There's just indicating there. So I think hitting the guards is really out of question now. Maybe just salvaging a point and maybe having something for 2 if he can promote these 2 blue stones. Hit the higher one thin enough to chip the top 4-foot one into shot position. Of course, Colten's shot pushed the yellow stone to the back 4 back button area. So there is room to get in there.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Selena. I think that you hit that blue one thin enough and it's going to definitely go straight back onto that yellow one.
Doesn't have a ton of weight on this. So just hit it a little too thick, actually. They could have been sweeping that a bit. It would have made a great shot. There is an angle for 3 there on the thrown blue rock at the end. So Team Stevens definitely has to deal with that blue stone that Stuart just threw. So Chad just looking for the hit and roll. I think Paul's a little worried they might line something up if they line up the angles for a similar shot for Stuart. I think Stuart would be happy to get away with 1 this end, and maybe if Team Stevens leaves that blue hanging around, a 3. So I don't think they can ignore that stone. It's the easiest shot. What I think they're doing here is a thin double on the 2 blues. It's important to make contact, obviously, with the stone on the right, to the right of Chad's broom. He's actually calling the out turn, which looks a little funny considering the ice that he's giving, but Paul can throw it straight enough, and they have to hit it pretty thin to make a double on those. And that'll do the trick. So that's a good result there. Nice shot from Paul.
Yeah, it's a smart call, too. I mean, even though it was a little bit difficult for the Stuart Thompson team to get access to that yellow stone, if they ever were able to, the Stevens rink is looking up giving up 3 or 4, right? So to remove those blue stones was definitely a smart call.
So what we're seeing here is just a tap. He doesn't even have to move the blue back very far. Doesn't have to move the yellow either. Stuart can get shot stone just from tapping his own, but it is over buried from the hack. It's at least fully buried, not quite behind the sheet. You just look at it there. So it does look like it's over buried behind the yellow stone. So they'll have to watch the line very closely on this skinny, the top, or the close yellow guard, and look for a single point here in the third end. Great shot.
Great shot.
So a single picked up on a wonderful last rock from Stuart Thompson. We'll leave this game tied after 3, and Chad Stevens will once again have the hammer. Both teams throwing very well here. And Team Stevens certainly not going to let up on Stuart Thompson just because they're already in the final. It's nice to go into the weekend with a 7-0 record, leave the round robin on a high note, of course. We've won 6 in a row, so why not make it 7? And Team Thompson, as we mentioned, looking to guarantee themselves a spot in the playoff situation, whether it be a tiebreaker or if things work out for them, a spot in the semis. We just had a pick here on Alex MacNeil's rock.
Yeah, it really lost its weight there, eh? Just grinding.
So Sweeper's unable to get it there. That's an unfortunate result. They would have liked to have a lot of rocks in play here.
So with that pick, it leaves an opportunity for Chad Stevens Rink to throw up their corner guard with no worries about any other rocks in play, and hopefully set the stage for 2 for them.
We're not going to see another center guard from Alex. We'll see him try and come around that corner, block the path. Absolutely wants to be above the tee line, though. If you're behind the tee line, it only plays into the hand of Team Stevens. This one's not slowing down anytime soon. I don't think Chad's too worried about getting that out because it's at this point behind the corner guard, it's helping their team. So a straightforward start to the end for Team Stevens with no real aggressive play able from Team Thompson. They tried, but just came a little deep on that, and after the unfortunate hogged rock on the first, leaves an opening for a setup for a couple. So we'll just see run back here, trying to get out of the end for Team Thompson. If you play this early enough, you have a pretty good chance of getting out unscathed. And that guard's relatively tight to the rings. Doesn't quite nut it, but leaves the shot rock in the rings. No longer shot. The back blue is, but there's still a corner guard out there. Now it's a blue stone instead of yellow. Just taking a look at the scores across this sheet. Jamie Janbrook. Jamie Janbrook. I've been doing that all week. Can I just call him Damie and get it over with? Jamie Janbrook scores 3 in the third on Glenn McLeod to lead 3-1. Glenn McLeod had a chance at maybe getting into the playoff spot, of course defending champions from the 2015 provincials. But it lost today to put them at earlier today to put them at 4 losses, so they won't be part of the playoff mix here.
Over on sheet 4, we have a close matchup between Murphy and Adams. Again, as we've mentioned, there will be a lot of eyes on that game as well. And currently Murphy is leading by a score of 2-1, playing 4. And over on sheet 2, we have McDougall up against Paul Dexter. As we've mentioned before, the two teams are not in playoff contention. However, still playing for some views, and the McDougall rink is currently up 1 in a 2-1 game.
So no run back, but the straight peel was made from Travis. No, that was from Colten. No, yes, from Travis, sorry. Cameron used to throw third for Chad Stevens, and I'm thinking he's throwing third still. I mean, he's not. Second stone, so this is his last of
Get it together,
second
Selena.
stones. I know. One of these days, I'll figure out who's who.
So just be like, oh, sorry.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, just be looking for the nose hit on this one.
Yeah, there is a big.
That triple.
There's a triple. That's, I think, a little more complicated than they need to worry about right now. Stuart just saying they're giving up 2 no matter what. That's not necessarily true. There's a few rocks to play yet. There's a double as well across the house. You're still giving up 2 that way, though.
No, I know what you mean. I mean, get to this level, Selena, and it's tough to hope for a rollout on a hit, but it happens, and you need to play smart and not get ahead of yourselves, because if you're going to be giving up 2 anyway, as he was saying, I mean, you could end up playing the double, not getting anything, and be in a situation where you might be giving up 3 now. And that's way worse. Like, you give up 2 here, it's not that bad. You get your hammer back, you get your 2 in the next end, and you move on from there.
Yeah, so they've grouped the stones a little. They didn't want that much of a roll, so the stones are grouped here. There is a thick double, but that'll leave a double for Colten to throw as well. So the benefit of that shot was to have a couple shots likely at a double and get out of this only giving up 2. And this end didn't come from much. It was just a little bit of a miss, and then neither of the run backs made on second stones. But he rolled his shooter to an okay spot. Makes a double from Colten. Steele too risky to play, so he'll just make the single here and try and have some protection for his thrown stone. Colten looking for the double. I agree with Stuart here. It doesn't help them. If you make it, you lose your shooter. Good throw from Colten.
Yeah, no, definitely a great throw. Puts it in a position where if you do make the double, your shooter's probably rolling out, and then we'd probably be looking at a blank end.
And not easy for Team Stevens to make any kind of roll under. The higher that stone gets as you make consecutive nose hits, the more difficult it is to make a roll. So we may see a little roll to the center line, depending on what Chad can do here. And then Team Thompson may have the roll available to get a shot stone tucked in behind. So they waited as they could.
That's a great shot. He actually almost doubled those stones off thrown board weight.
Yeah, that's a really good attempt. Don't know if it was enough. Taking a look at it. For Team Thompson, I don't know if it matters so much right now. It's not really a double on the yellows. It's so thin. They're taking a look at it. 2 shots remaining, so Stuart makes this. There maybe a flat double on the Blues to ensure, but it might be a little too risky for Team Stevens to take on for fear of rolling out and giving up their entire end. Just looking for a nose hit here. Right on the nose. So depending on where the, whether it's the blue or the yellow that's biting the 12-foot, that's third shot right now. Stevens could be looking at as much or as many as 3. If he makes a nose hit here. With only 2 shots remaining and knowing that there probably won't be an easy double for the other team.
Good shot. Hits nose to sit 2.
I really wish I knew who was third shot. If they're talking about a freeze here, it makes me think it may be yellow.
Oh no, it's tough to say. I mean, if you go back a couple shots, I'd be knowing that Stuart played the nose hit on his first. I'm surprised he didn't play the double on the top 2 yellow if that were the case.
True, yeah, it's a really thin. Oh, are you talking the slash? There's a thin double and then there's a slash.
No,
the other way. It would be a thin double.
Talking about 2 that if he already knew that Stevens' rink was second and third, I'm surprised he didn't play the double on the top 2 yellows on his first shot.
Yes, yeah.
Whereas now he's in this situation where they're sitting 3 possibly. What are they going to do, right? I mean, obviously it's a little too late now to play that if they're unsure. Just because if you miss it, you're definitely giving up 3.
Yeah, they're okay giving up 2 here. The problem is, and I think viewers can tell too, if Stuart hits this on the nose, there will be a double for Paul Flemming, and that'll be for sure for 3.
Yeah, I think exactly. Yeah, so I think with this one, it's pretty critical where you roll with this. I think if you do nose it, you will leave some sort of double. So I think what would be best is if you either you roll under and you roll behind the Yellowstone, or you roll over just to the open side far enough that if Chad's team is only sitting the 1, that they would just have the nose hit for 2.
So a roll either way. Just looking for a little bit of an outside roll. Pretty close here. They're not too worried about making that shot stone. They know it would be an open 2, and so they could roll further away and make that double for 3 impossible if it is blue.
Yeah, exactly.
That is third shot.
Leaving the double would just be
crazy.
It'd be crazy. You can't be doing that with these guys. Do well, so.
And they didn't. So that was a good shot there, just knowing a little bit of trouble and giving up 2 is not the end of the world. So already with 1 point in his back pocket, Paul Flemming throwing a draw, very similar to his draw in the second end for 2, although he has no guards to contend with.
Looks like they're really backing up on this one. They don't want to touch it at all. You see hands up from Kelly there, acknowledging that the good shot. Right to the 4 foot.
Usually sweepers want to have a chance to help the stone out instead of watch it sail through, so you get them backing off a little bit. So there won't be a measure there, and I think if they were really concerned if that was for 3, that they put the stick on that.
So 2 points for the Stevens rink to take a 3-1 lead here after 4 ends.
If you're active on Twitter, I know a lot of you are, some people watching from across the country and across the world, we're using the hashtag NSCurl, so you can interact with anyone who's following the event, just as we wait for Kelly to get ready to throw.
Do you go to the washroom?
Perhaps. I think the entire front end from Team Stevens
there
is missing. They got to take turns, so Paul will be the lone sweeper on this stone here. We'll see a similar setup to the third end, I think. Kelly, Mittelstadt. We got Cameron back. So Kelly will put this stone in the rings and wait to guard it later. And a corner guard coming up from Alex MacNeil.
Yeah, Thompson team here is definitely going to come out hard, and they'll be looking to get their 2 back here in the 5th.
That's the reason why being down 2 points, not so scary. It's a 10-end game, so we have all 10-end games this week, in case you haven't been following through to the end. So for provincial and national and world championships, 10 games are the norm, a little longer than the ones we're used to seeing on the World Curling Tour. And we're in the 5th end, so we'll have a short break after this end. Teams will have a chance to regroup and figure out how to approach the second half if they don't already have a plan, although both these teams pretty aggressive styles of play, not scared of rocks in play, but also very aware and able to clear out things when it gets a little messy.
Stuart's just going to call this one in to just sit right on top of that yellow stone.
Alex MacNeil throwing. So he curled with Stuart in 2012, 2013, and then moved to New Brunswick, where he finished off his junior career there. I think with Rene Como. Went to another nationals or 2, so lots of experience on this team as well. Nice little freeze tap there. Chad not taking any risks. He'll peel the corner. Almost caught the one in the I think the difference in this game, Carly, I don't know if you would agree, is just a little bit of misses on the part of Team Thompson and open the door a bit for Team Stevens. Stuart had to make a really good one in the third just to get a single.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I don't necessarily think they were execution misses per se either. I just think that, I mean, both these teams are so good, and when you get misses either through execution or, if you call the wrong ice or miscall sweeping, it's really those little things that really do come back to get you just because of how precise and accurate these players are. So, yeah, I'd have to agree that those minor misses that have occurred from the Thompson rink are what have led this to be a 3-1 game for the Stevens rink.
Yeah, and it's nothing big. It's the difference between, a peel is great, but when you're asking for a double peel or when you're asking for a run back and you miss by a centimeter, that's that kind of a miss. So a big weight hit there from Cameron MacKenzie. Leaves the shooter out front covering the blue shot stone.
Yeah, I think we would like to roll the shooter out. Unfortunately, it sticks there to be a corner guard for that blue stone in the house. It's not exactly what he was looking for, but at least he removed one of the blue stones and changed up the end a bit.
Yeah, as we were talking about precision of shots, we saw Travis Colter come in with a great little freeze, and that was the reason that run back was called there. Can't really leave the opponent's stones stacked too high on your own, so Stevens needed to get those moving. And they know that as things go on, they may have a crack at some kind of a double further along in the end. This one's got to slow down. So as soon as they know that it wasn't going to be out-counted by the Yellowstone, they wanted in case a nose hit was made or a freeze to out-count the blue. So Team Thompson sitting 2, but they are staggered. So we're looking for a run back here from Chad Stevens, throwing third. Oh, nice one of these in this exact spot in the first end.
Close to getting both, actually. I think that would have been a little bit of a bonus.
Absolutely. They were not looking to make it that way. You don't like to have your run backs come that close to being missed, but it was so close to being a made shot as well. The double on the Blues. So come around again. This time Colten Steele. Colter and MacNeil working on the sweep. Looks pretty good. Almost in the same spot, so if Chad likes it, he'll have the same shot again.
Hey, you got 2 again, I think.
Maybe Paul will just give him a bit more ice.
Yes, you guys could hear at home, but Paul said to Chad, you threw that good. Just to say, I think they were expecting to stick their shoe there on that first one. So yeah, just a little bit of an adjustment in the ice and throw it similarly and hopefully get a similar result.
That's a bit unfortunate. It's hard to go through the hole there and a little bit in between on the sweeping. Decided in the end to go for the sweep to try and connect with the back 12-foot blue stone and ended up going through the middle.
Stuart's just going to look to replace that corner guard with his own rock. So it'll be interesting to see if he does make this perfect, what the Stevens needs to play.
Yeah, the difference being is the color of the stone that would be run back if there was a run back. So this time it'll be a blue one if this guard is made successfully. doesn't quite get the finish that they need. So the blue shot stone on the top of the house may be available from the hack. Have a good look at it here in front of Paul as he slides down to throw.
Yeah, I think if Paul throws this,
He's
I'm
worried
actually
he can't
really
get in there.
surprised that they're doing this. I'm surprised they're not going for the blue stone that that you can see by the guard. I mean, I know it's risky to try playing it by the guard, but if you get that roll, you're sitting really good.
It's true. So I heard Paul say edge on edge, which means he can't see air. He doesn't have a lot of room to get by the guard. Pretty high guard with the run back. Well, not with the run back, sorry. It was just placed there. But he could get under. The risk is you tick the front, and you're probably giving up 3 then. So this is a safe call. It's been a tight game, and it was a victory for Team Stevens. Points in the last end. So similar situation where maybe they're okay with conceding a 2 points and having hammer in the 6th end. So they won't get shot stone out of that nose hit. Gives an opportunity to play around the guard if Stuart really wanted to, but given that blue stone that is shot is open, I think a freeze is a safe call.
Yeah, and this is kind of why I'm surprised that he played the hit, because he was going to leave this shot for Stuart, and it's still, I mean, if Stuart makes this good, I think that it's going to be tough for Paul to remove, and he might end up, I mean, of course he'll probably still throw a bomb at it and try to, get it out, but it's not going to be easy. So if Stuart can make this really good, I think that 3 is definitely a possibility.
It is for sure. Sweepers be watching it closely, because I've seen Paul make run back doubles and on almost frozen stones. So a double on almost frozen stones would be a cake for him. So this one needs to be perfectly frozen, just waiting for the line. Just got a little bump there, so just a tad too much weight. Couldn't allow the sweepers to maneuver it in there. Really close. Unfortunate thing with a freeze is it's such a tough shot that really close doesn't count for much. Paul can hit this on the nose. He'll end up with shot rock, so it'll force a hit, which is likely the preferred shot for Stuart to make, since the chances of rolling out are there, and draw to the full 8/4 foot is pretty standard for these guys. They roll out there, but no big deal. So that all came down to 1 missed run back as well. Not a huge difference in this end, similar to the last and all game, really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and Stuart did what they needed to do, and it's well-deserved too. They played this end really well, so.
Open draw to the full 8 foot for 2 points to tie this game up after 5 and move into a game.
Just looking for a piece or a full 8 foot here to score us 2 points going into the 5th end break.
This reminds me of the last end where sweepers didn't have their brooms down, but they seem to think it's all right. We'll make it to at least the tee line there. And 2 points, so tie game. They're just trying to make it fun for all the nervous friends, family that are watching here at the club. So we'll catch you back here on Bell Alliant TV1 after the break.
Well, tight was fine.
What's this place called Sushi Scene? Sushi Game? Yeah. You gone there? Oh, it's gone. Yeah. Fritzy told me this. Thank you.
All right, everyone. That was a quick 5-minute break. We are back with 6N action in the Sheet 3 feature matchup at the East Coast Credit Union men's Tankard here at the Mayflower Curling Club in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And in case you can't see the TV1 icon on the bottom right of your screen, you are watching us live on Bell Alliant TV1, along with our friends North who are doing all the video for this week for both the men's that we are watching now, the final draw, Team Stevens versus Team Thompson, and then of course the we're also hosting the women's provincial championships as well, the Scotties and that final action of the round robin will be underway at 8 p.m. tonight, so stay tuned. You get the same link, and you'll be able to see on Sheet 3, that's our sheet, top 2 seeds, Marianne Arsenault taking on Teresa Breen. Arsenault already locked up a spot in the final. And, Teresa Breen at 2 losses, needing a win there. And then on Sheet 4, if you want to catch that one, that's Jill Brothers versus Colleen Jones, and those teams are both also playoff contenders. So really interesting to see what happens there. So we'll catch you at 8, but for now, we got the men's action. Tie game, very tight game, and not much difference here between the two teams. I suppose the difference would be Team Stevens has hammer in the 6th, and if you know anything about teams wanting to have hammer in the even ends, it's a little bit of an advantage in a 5-end game.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we've been saying all game, and now really the difference has just been a couple shots here or there. Otherwise, both teams are playing great right now. And yeah, Chad Stevens already locked up their spot in the finals on Sunday, which will be aired here on Community 1 at on Sunday on Sheet 4. And Stu Thompson here fighting for their life. If they can get a win, they can either secure a spot in the semifinals or a tiebreaker situation if Jamie Murphy also wins over on Sheet 4.
And that's tie game as well. They blanked the 5th, and lots to be seen in these 2 games, tie games. So there's a reason that these 4 are at the top of the pack. They've dominated all week, opening all with 2-0 records.
Yeah, these games mean everything now. It's really crazy when you think about the entire season and you go and you travel and you play in so many games. It really just comes down to these games now, and this is what they've played for all year. So lots on the line for them too.
Nice shot there from Kelly Mittelstadt to unlock that situation. There was a nice freeze from Alex, actually over curled and peeked out the center line side. So that blue stone is in a bit of a precarious position right now. So we're on to second stones. Travis Colter looking to play a similar type of shot and just bump things around. Weight looks pretty good on this one. Line's coming in a bit nicer than the line for Kelly's. Was actually over curled.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised on that one that they had Alex going so hard on it, but it ended up in a pretty good spot. So we'll see Chad Stevens going up to peel the center line guard now.
Second stone, Cameron MacKenzie. I think Carly mentioned earlier, he's played with Chad. This is his 3rd year now. And joining with first year this lineup with Kelly and Paul. So with the removal of that center guard and Stevens having hammer, there's lots of options for them to get out of this end if they so choose to. But Travis Colter looking to make a hit on this yellow stone and perhaps lose both yellows if he can get enough curl across the face. He does just that.
Great shot to eliminate both those yellow stones and to sit 3.
No way for Team Stevens to remove all 3 of these stones, so they'll look to make the double. Might want to lose the shooter here. Could have made the shot and stuck the shooter, which is probably what they called, but it's certainly hit a little too thin to stick around. So Team Thompson here with the opportunity to sit 2. No guards in play. Need this one to stick around in the rings, or else Team Stevens can get a blank. And as soon as they know it's not out, they got Travis Colter trying to make them even. So that's a really tough shot to throw. You want it to be in the back of the house, but not out. So you've got 6 feet of wiggle room. Not really any choice for Team Stevens here, but to just make the hit and try and get out of here. If you can stack the rocks up a little bit on these hits and maybe have a double on the next one.
That named the winner of the Credit Union Prize was Harold Wilson. Lucky winner, Harold Wilson. Come up and claim your prize.
In case any of you heard that over the broadcast, we have East Coast Credit Union here with they're of course the title sponsor, some promotional material, and we just had a prize drawn. So there's lots of reasons to come out to the club besides just watching great curling. The credit union's partnered with Nova Scotia Curling Association to sponsor this event, and we're so happy to have them join us. We're looking at the Scotties logos. Of course, we mentioned earlier that the women's event is being held concurrently. And you can see to the right the beautiful blue East Coast Credit Union logo on the rings as well. So we've got great ice in here, brought in John Wall, ice maker from Ontario, and it's got great conditions. Curlers are saying the curl is great, the speed is holding up. They're able to make a lot more shots than they would in a typical league game. A lot more come-arounds being played and soft weight hits around guards, I've noticed this week. So we're coming into the freeze game. There's not really any chance of a double anymore with that great hit and roll from Colten Steele. So Chad looking for a freeze. This one's right. They had to wait for the line. So Stuart can just pick that out and continue to sit 2. Looking good for a force here.
It's a pretty aggressive call. You don't make that freeze perfectly. You do give the Thompson rink 3. But given that the Stevens rink does have hammer, I mean they have a little bit more wiggle room to be a little bit more aggressive and play those calls and maybe see if they can get a miss out of the Thompson rink.
Sure thing. I think if you know too that you're going to get forced, as is the case here with those 2 well-set items, that you may as well, they're not in scoring contention. They're not, anywhere in the 4-foot or anything like that. So may as well go for the freeze. And if you make it, great. And if not, well, you're getting forced anyway. So you're trying to get your 2 points if you can.
Yep.
So Paul Flemming throwing last stones for Team Stevens on his first here. In the 6th end, we'll try and make the same freeze that Chad Stevens attempted on his last. See if he can get it a couple feet further. Of course, if the freeze is made perfect and Stuart Thompson blasts this out, then there'll be a blank attempt.
This one's curling.
Over curling in the other direction. Gets shot stone, which is important, and the reason they didn't want to keep trying to sweep it to get there. So pick again. I think there's the opportunity here for Stuart to stick around on this one and maybe just sit a stone a little closer to the button, make Paul's draw on his last a bit harder. Don't want to let it go so far that you risk jamming, though. But they're set up naturally to be hit on the center line side here.
Nicely done.
Just rolls out, but a good shot nonetheless. So as expected, Paul has a draw to the, just needs to bite the 8-foot for a single, and he's not drawing to the button. You may notice that that's not a lot of ice for a draw to the button. But he's thrown this shot a few times. He had it in the 2nd with guards in the way, and in the 4th for his 2nd point. So the selection, or the reason for this selection of line for this draw. And no question there. They'll put it right in the 4-foot. And a score of 1 in the 6th for Stevens. So we continue to have a tight game. Stevens with a 4-3 advantage. And into the 7th end with last rock. Any updates on the other sheets? I haven't been paying attention. I've been too.
Yeah, I was just looking over. It looks like they are on skip stones on sheet 4. So it's a tie game right now between Murphy and Adams. But definitely someone's going to be in 6. So we'll update you on that one shortly. And over on sheet 2, they're also on skip stones. And looks like Paul Dexter's going for a triple attempt here. And just misses it. So it looks like there's going to be an opportunity for McDougall to score multiples. And we'll let you know shortly. And also over on sheet 5, they're on skip stones in the 6th, but McLeod is leading by a score of 4-3 at the moment. So we'll give you a quick update in just a few minutes, just to let you know what's happening here in the second half and how everything is shaping up to be. So you can see on our screen, we got some fans on the ice. It's ironic that those people are sitting together. Got some people rooting against each other.
Yeah, a little bit of history there. So we mentioned some of the players on these teams curled together. So we had Stuart's parents, my parents as well, I suppose. It's worth mentioning.
Who are they?
Out there. And beside them are Cameron MacKenzie's father and sister, who it's nice to see them make the trip down. Cameron, originally from Truro, curled out of the Truro Curling Club. I guess they're getting bundled up a little cold, so blankets are out. And
looks like a little Eskimo.
I think that's a curling blanket, actually.
That's cute.
No idea the camera's on him, but yeah, my parents are always at curling events watching, and same with Cameron. So they know each other well, having cheered on the same team and against each other nowadays.
We're all friends in the end.
Yeah, we got to come out with that old line. Everyone's just hoping for a good game.
I always say that. I actually mean it.
It's true, I know. I think it's hard when you're family members. You really, really, really want your family member to win.
Mm-hmm.
So come around there. No corner guard, so Stuart would probably like to blank this end. Have a chance to score in the 8th and switch the advantage of last rock from odd ends to even ends as we come down the home stretch toward the 10th end. We probably mention this every time, but teams really like to score in the 8th.
Yeah, exactly, and especially in a tight game, Selena, where if you can score in the 8th end, you're hoping that, create a force in the 9th and take hammer with you into the 10th end. So oftentimes you'll hear people talk about scoring in the 8th end and how important that is for that reason, because it gets you an extra hammer later on in the game.
For that same reason, Team Steve would love to force Thompson to a single here and have an even game with 2 hammers to 1. So the hammers would be in 8 and 10. But while we can't remove the guard, Alex MacNeil will try another freeze here. Getting a good result out of that, popping the Steven stone out in the open and leaving 2 blue stones behind the yellow guard out front.
Yeah, that's where that was an awesome shot, and it will really dictate how this end goes. The lead stones are so important, and if Alex misses that, then his team is going to be chasing Chad for the rest of the end. So great shot by Alex.
Hard to get that much on the inside of it with the little bit of extra weight he had to throw to move the yellow, but made perfectly. So another bump, tap type soft weight shot here for Cameron.
This one's really got to move. It's way out there.
This is the side of the sheet that does get that movement at the end, but a little extra weight thrown there. That was board weight at least. Makes contact with 2 stones and actually rolls out.
It's actually not too bad, though. Yeah, Stuart's got the 2 in there, but they are kind of lined up for a double later on. I mean, it changes it up a bit. It could have been way worse, and he could have missed everything completely. So,
yeah. Oh, absolutely. And they were doing the sweeping to get it in there. I like this call. I was going to mention that he may have to make a play off his own and roll in behind the guard in order to remove that double that you were talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a good call here.
It's a smart call, too. It takes, not everyone can see shots like this. I really feel that Stuart, I've had an opportunity to watch a lot of games here. I find that Stuart's really able to think 2 or 3 shots ahead, and he anticipates that, so he's able to call shots that'll help him later on in the end. And not every skip can do that, so.
Beginner curlers tend to think 1 shot at a time and what can I make right now? But when you're playing at this caliber, you really have to know what's coming at you. And this one's over curling. They get it by the guard. Oh, just barely.
Actually, it worked out okay. That was some great sweeping. I really didn't think they were getting by the guard, but Alex was just all over it.
Yeah, Alex is, everyone notices if they've never seen Alex MacNeil sweep, he slider sweeps, so he's on the side where he gets more of the smooth gliding motion than Travis would, the other front end player there. But everyone goes, who's that guy sweeping? I've heard that several times, and even at junior nationals, some mention of it. He's got really good form and gets a lot of pressure right over the broom head, which is ideal when you are looking for a front end player that's going to be managing the back end stones. So soft weight doubles there. Not sure that's what they were looking for. They were looking for a hit and flop on the inside. Ended up hitting a bit too wide. So that's 2 in a row. Just a little heavy and on the outside for Cameron there this end. Yellow's still in a semi-usable position. It's interesting. We said Stuart probably like a blank this end, but if he gets a chance to take 2, that's not so bad either. Alex MacNeil working again on the line to keep it straight. Just freezing this in there. Nice weight.
That was a great toss. So Thompson rink lies 3 now, and Paul's going to have to think about this one. I don't mind the run back myself. I think if you can make it, you might be able to get all 3. So it looks like they're going to play it.
That's why you do play your center guard fairly tight to the rings, is because oftentimes it does come down to a run back like this.
Big shot here for Chad Stevens.
Only got 1. Left the shooter out front, but the button's a little more cleared up, and there is a well-placed yellow stone in front of the 4-foot.
Yeah, no, the result of that is definitely gives Stevens rink a few more options later on, so great throw by Chad. So there is an update across the way. So on sheet 4, it looks like Murphy managed to take 3 in the 6th end, so they are leading the Sean Adams rink by a score of 5-2 after 6. And over on sheet 2, we have Brett McDougall picking up 2 in the 6th, so he is leading Paul Dexter by a score of 4-3. And over on sheet 5, we have Jamie Danbrook up against Glenn McLeod, and it looks like the Danbrook rink also scored a deuce in the 6th end, so they are leading by a score of 5-4. So lots of close games across the way, and especially, I mean, all eyes on sheet 3 and 4 right now as we near the end of the round robin and head into playoffs. As we take a look at the time clocks here, there is a timeout called by the Thompson rink. So we'll see Coach Kevin Patterson to the ice shed. It's a little bit of a walk, but we can see him over.
He's behind the curtains, but he'll be
there
behind
the curtain. He's making his way over.
So they're in a bit of a dilemma. That was a nice shot, as Carly said, from Chad, because it gives Team Stevens options, and really nicely placed Yellowstone right in front of that mess there, and really only one stone in good position for Team Thompson. That's the one on the 4-foot, but it's at major risk of being removed very quickly. So they're looking at a double on the yellows. They may clip the blue one on the way by, but could sit 2 or 3 if they could double them. It's a pretty flat double, though.
Yeah, I like that call. I think even if you don't make the double, at least if you play it thick enough, your shooter will roll over into a 3rd shot position. And at least it opens it up. I mean, really, the goal of this end is to get 2. So as long as you can, keep that 2 alive, I think that's what's important. And I think that by playing this shot, that gives them that the best opportunity to do so. So I think this is a good call. It's always good. I mean, this is a big shot. It's sometimes, you out 2 timeouts per game. And if you really need, just to talk to your coach and just have someone else give you their input as to what their thoughts are on the situation. It definitely reaffirms it and increases the confidence in a shot being called.
So this isn't the biggest up weight I've seen Colten throw. It's more of a controlled weight. Like to get a little bit more curl in order to make this double. Just nicks it and rolls by. Does remove the Yellowstone top 8 and leave Team Thompson sitting
Yeah, I'm actually surprised they played. I mean, I know it wasn't that big of up weight, but I'm surprised they played that much weight at it anyway, because I really don't think they needed the double. I think sticking their shooter there was way more important, and now this leaves a double opportunity for the Chad Stevens rink, and after this, if they make it the way they want to, they'll be sitting 3. And, we're going to have to see a pretty good shot made by this Stu Thompson rink.
Yeah, sticking the shooter was key there.
I think it really was, yeah.
Got a rub off it, but it needed to come up a little bit more to... Oh, and we got a miss out of Chad Stevens and a double jam on the back. So we see this shot. This is not a hard call for Stuart to make.
It's not often you see a big miss like that.
And that was just wide too. Same kind of path that Colten's took. Both teams haven't had trouble in that spot. All game.
Lost my headset there. Literally flew off my head.
Didn't miss anything, so we're still waiting for the draw to come down the sheet. This one's got to be above the tee, and Sweeper's working really hard to get it by the front one. It's got to be in the house. This is a really good chance to score multiple points here, and don't know if that's in. Body language says anything, I think it's not. I think that this is the sheet where we get the top of the rings cut off in our overhead shot, so we may not be able to tell from that either. Even if that was biting, but it really had to be in the 4-foot.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's now a chance to shut things down if a good draw is made on Paul Flemming's first. There'll be an in-off for Stuart off the yellow on the right side. Line was great on that throw of Colten's, just didn't have the weight, and Sweepers did all they could. Now we're moving to the other side of the sheet, the in-turn side for Paul's throw. This is the one that holds straight and then really curls, so here it goes now.
Don't really want to bounce off this one, but looks like it's coming to a halt. That's a great shot. So after a few misses, we see Paul Flemming come back with a wonderful draw there. And I'm not too sure what the best option here is for Stu.
It's tough. The in-off's always there. You usually like to save that for your last one. But, if he doesn't do something now, he may not have a last shot.
He can play the draw. There's also, you can play the run back as well.
Yeah, there's a double run, yellow-blue, right into that mess. Probably not looking at 3 anymore, maybe just 1, max 2, if you can make that really good.
Yeah, I don't mind the run back only because it opens it up. I think that if you miss this one, then you're in really big trouble. But if you make it, then you're in good shape too, right? And if you can get the angle, I think Selena, if you can tap it, if you can try your best to, you know, maybe hit 3/4 of it, tap it back a bit, unlock that blue one, line up some sort of angle where if Paul doesn't make his perfectly, you could potentially remove that yellow stone on his next one and score 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and I think that's the call too. They've tightened up the ice. This is similar to the third end where Stuart had a gentle little in this path to score his single. Sweeper's indicating that it's a little heavy. Don't really want to touch it, so got to wait for the curl. It's moving now. They got it by. Saves the shooter.
That's a pretty good shot. Although he's not shot rock, he moved that yellow one into an open space. And he's going to have to force Paul into making a good one here. So that's a good shot. I don't think he would have wanted to roll off as much as he did. I think
from one. I don't know. I think everyone up here, at least from what I heard, was pretty surprised he got it by the guard. So I think that's about as best as.
Yeah, I'm really
could make
surprised it bounced off as much as it did because it really didn't look like it was that much weight. Maybe it was more from what it looked like. I'm really surprised it rolled off as much as it did. I really thought that if he got by the guard, he would, stay around the 4-foot area.
Nice thing about that result too is, like you said, if Paul doesn't make this perfect, there's going to be a shot, at least for one. Given that the yellow at the back 4-foot is now wide open, even though it's not shot, or that it is shot stone, and the blue could come into play. Sweeper's working on this one. Seem to think it's a bit lighter.
You can't be light on this one. It has to get there.
They're easing up
Looks
now.
like, yeah. This is coming in really nice. It's a great shot. So it's going to be a draw for one for Stu Thompson here. Not an easy draw either.
No, it needs the pin.
Two great shots by Paul Flemming to really save that end for them. They're definitely a little bit of a pickle.
And he basically landed that in the same spot as his first, even though the weight was probably a bit different. Sweepers were astute enough to pick that up and sweep early, knowing that it would take the curl a little harder and keep the line out for a bit longer.
This is a big draw here to get a single. Drawing against two yellow counters right now. So looking for a full button here to score as one in the 7th end. It's really close.
Is it enough for a single?
I don't know. It's really close. I think you might see these guys measure this one. What? One yellow? Guess he was sure.
That's tough. That's a couple extra broom sweeps, and those sweepers were managing that the whole way down. Knew it was pretty good, and it's unfortunate to have that happen. It's certainly a very good effort.
Well, it must have been a lot closer than, or sorry, a lot, what's the word I'm looking for, Selena?
More clear?
More clear down there to them than it was to us, because, I mean, from up here, it really looked close. I'm really surprised that they didn't put the stick on that. But, yeah, no, it must have been. Usually these guys will measure if there's any uncertainty at all.
So that'll be a steal of one. So a 2-point lead, 5-3 for Stevens after 7 ends.
It's such a tough one to call, too. I mean, essentially, he had nothing. It was actually a cold draw to the full button for his single there. So, I mean, sweepers can, I mean, do all they can do. But it's really just, it's tough to, you know, judge it perfectly like that. So it was a good team shot. I mean, the Chad Stevens rink was sitting too, so they did cut their loss as well. So not a terrible result, and they still have hammer going into the 8th end here, so they'll be looking to pick up their deuce and tie up the game headed into the 9th end.
Same setup as a typical, as we would typically see for a team with last rock, down a couple points, especially given that it's the 8th end and just missing that score of 1 in the last end. So Team Thompson really back here in 8. Would be a great result for them. Try and force in 9. Kelly Mittelstadt looking to put another one in the rings. Top house. Great shot from Kelly.
Yeah, he'll be happy with that. Just a little deep on his first one, and nice adjustment.
Second corner guard going up. MacNeil.
Yeah, Stu's team's going to be going pretty hard for their 2 here. I don't think they'll be too happy with the single, so definitely throw up the 2 corners and give her all they got to get that 2 points.
Nice pair there from Alex. Pretty even.
Yeah, even and nice and tight. Given how good the ice is here this week, you can, throw those tight guards, still be able to make the come-arounds, and have those guards available for run-backs later on as well. So it's great that with the ice, it opens up the, possibilities for more shots and whatnot.
So just keep going with those. Some people would think, why not Team Stevens put up a center guard? You're sitting 2, but not a great thing for them to call, given that they can afford to play a bit defensive here. They don't want to give up. They'd like to force Team Thompson to 1 here and have Hammer up 1, playing 9. So don't need any more guards in play. They'll continue to peel these stones. This one just sliding into the 12-foot. In this case, probably going to ask. Looking for the peel. I would be slightly tempted to play a hit and roll. Just leave another Yellowstone in the rings, but if you don't make that perfect, you get yourself in trouble too.
Yeah, for sure. And as I was saying before, the Thompson rink is going to do everything they can to get 2 points here. And, the Stevens rink doesn't really necessarily, yeah, they're only up by 2, but they don't necessarily need more points at this point. I think with they'll be extremely happy with that. So not really any need to leave rocks in the house. However, like you said, if you make it perfect, that's really awesome. It really puts the pressure on the Thompson rink.
Travis Colter looking for a little bump here and move these down. They're in great positions on the center line, but if you can just bump them around, don't have to move them out of the rings. You're trying to score
Looks like
here.
Quite a bit of weight, though. Good result, though.
Yeah, just got a little lucky with a little chip on the back one. Sets up a bit of a wall, or the start of a wall. Can't hit this on the nose.
Looks like, I'm not too sure until they put up the score, but it looks like the Adams rink came back with a 3-pointer against Murphy after they took 3 and 6. So I think it's a 5-5 game now. Just waiting to see Mark put up the score here. And is he, he's not going to put up a score.
Thanks,
I think it was 3, though. So, yeah, wow. Tight game over there, too. Of course, as we said earlier, there's lots of different scenarios that can happen from these 2 games, where the Chad Stevens rink already guaranteed their spots in the final on Sunday at 3 p.m. here at the Mayflower Curling Club. And there's the 3-hour teams, the Thompson rink, the Murphy rink, and the Adams rink, all vying for 2 more spots in the semifinal game, with the winner playing Chad Stevens in the final. So opportunity here for Colten Steele to come around the blue corner guard and corner freeze onto that Yellowstone and sit shot rock. Looks a little heavy right now.
I have a tendency from up here to think everything looks heavy and then I'm proven wrong, but
I think
in
it's
this
heavy.
case we're right.
Trying, just a little too far. It's hard to tell from our angle if they are shot rock. It might have stopped in time, but deeper than they would have liked, and definitely removable by the Stevens rink. So I think we'll see them throw. I'm not too sure how much weight they'll throw. They can see about half of the stone there. I mean, even if you throw normal and you roll out, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and looking to move around those yellow stones at the back 8 foot as well and have them not be in a position that helps the Thompson rink right now as backing or jam possibilities. So Chad Stevens second of 2 in this 8th end.
Yeah, I think he was looking to hit a little bit less of that and roll over further. But, I mean, with that weight, it's tough, too. It wasn't firm weight. It was just a nice controlled hit. So an opportunity here for Stuart to same type of come around. Do you think they're trying to come right around the corner guard, Selena, or do you think they're playing to those back yellows?
No, they're playing those back yellows. If you can land one right in the pocket there, it's not going to go anywhere in one shot. It'll take a couple. And in the meantime, you'll have an opportunity to put another one in the rings and set up for your deuce. Don't bump them too far, though. Got to cross the center line here.
It's a pretty good spot. I think the only way that you can eliminate that rock is if you... I don't know if you can hit it on the outside and squirt it past that yellow rock.
No, Paul just indicating there may be a jam on the yellow at the back there. I think it probably goes over the top of that. Throw lots of nice weight. They probably need to sweep that couple more brush strokes. They were waiting for the line.
And just to confirm, over on sheet 4, Sean Adams did indeed take 3 in 7. So it is a tie game, 5-5, between Jamie Murphy and Sean Adams. Kelly really working on this one to keep it straight. Great
does
shot.
Go over the top. So we're back to the corner freeze behind the guard. 2 shots remaining, so this has to be a good one.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've seen it go down here a couple times. They should have an idea of how much weight to throw, how much it's going to curl. So it's a great opportunity to really make this one really good and set themselves up to take their deuce here this end. So big shot here for Stu Thompson.
Needs to make a good corner freeze. That is over buried, so his shot will be buried behind that blue corner guard if it's made. From up here, weight looks a bit better than the last attempt.
Yeah, it looks good, but it looks really good. Looks like the line's good. Weight's good. Trying to get it there. It's a fantastic shot. I really don't think Chad's team can see much of that, if any. Oh no, we can see now from this camera angle. So you can see a bit. However.
So
I mean,
enough to remove? I don't know. There is a jam on the side there. Paul's been worried about that for a couple shots now.
It's hard to say whether if you do play some weight at it, if it hits the yellow that's right beside it and kind of spins onto the the yellow in the back 8 foot or not. Just because of how close those other 2 stones are together. I'm not sure if that would happen or not.
I think they got to give it a go.
I think
not
so too.
Really, any other options for shots that don't give up 2 points. So we'll see this attempt here.
Yeah, this is not an easy shot. I mean, you gotta throw enough weight to get it going. You need to throw it really accurately too, because I mean, with that big weight, much curl. So this is a tough shot.
So we'll see if Paul Flemming on his last shot in the 8th end can remove this blue stone and force Team Thompson to the single.
Great shot. I'm curious, is that back yellow one biting now?
I think so, Carly. It looks like it from my angle up here, which is of course behind the house, but
It's
seems to be biting a large enough chunk that it is in. So
I wonder if that weren't biting, if Stu would opt to play the peel of that yellow one, because it looks from this angle he can see about half of it. But I mean, of course, if that other one's biting, you would never play that. Oh, you can see all of it.
Oh yeah, that yellow's wide open.
That other must be biting next. He would not be playing this shot. He would want to, you know, keep last rock advantage. And but I mean, a lot of our teams, if you go back to the whole even end thing, you take your one here, you can, you know, force or just go hard for a steal.
You're going to have to steal the last end anyway, or an extra end. So
Yeah, exactly.
get your one here and see what you can do in the 9th. No doubt there. It looked like it started to dig in a little bit. Was gliding pretty nice, but had some backing. Didn't need it right to the tee line. So a score of 1 facing what we think was 2 there in the 9th, or in the 8th end, sorry. Thompson will trail Stevens by a score of 5-4 without Hammer playing. Should make for an exciting 9th end, I think.
And I mean, Stu's first shot was fantastic. I don't know how much better he could have made that. And then Paul answered back with an excellent takeout and forced the Thompson rink into taking their one. So it's a well played from both teams.
So we're going to see a couple of guards here from Team Thompson, a tight one first, and then Alex MacNeil will look to put another one a lot closer to the hog line, get as much separation as possible. Only one blank end this game. It was the first end. It's been an exciting game, well played by both teams. And just as we mentioned the excitement of this game, on sheet 4, the other playoff prospective game is tied at 5, blank end coming at 8. So team Jamie Murphy will retain Hammer playing the 9th end in a tie game against Sean Adams. Murphy had a record of 4-2 and Adams at 5-1. Great pair from Alex MacNeil. Can't get them too much further apart than that.
It's absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's 9th end to play. Thompson's down 1. They're going to have to go steal here. So definitely throw up those 2 centerline guards and go from there.
If you caught us partway through this game, you are watching the East Coast Credit Union 2016 Men's Tankard here at the Mayflower Curling Club and broadcast live on Bell Alliant TV1. I'm Selena Thompson here with Carly Jones. It's been an exciting game. Lots of great shots made, as we just mentioned. Some really nice ones in the last end. These teams have been forcing each other to single points with the odd deuce in there. Nice little tap from Travis Colter there. I don't think Chad can do anything but peel. He's just going for the back one.
Yeah, I think if you go for that one and play it tight, you play it tight, you're getting the peel for sure. I don't think it goes on top of the blue, the one in the house, and take out the yellow. However, I think if you play tight, as you can tell by his ice, nice and tight, if he gets a top one, it's not bad either. So.
So they did clip that one, the top house, which is a good result. I don't think Stuart can do anything, but I thought he was going to have to play guard here. Stevens peeling, and you want to have a tight guard in play. If you play this freeze now, that top one's going away pretty quickly, and then you're guarding for your life.
Yeah, for sure. I don't mind this call. Definitely the way to miss it would be to miss it light. But, I mean, that Yellowstone's in a really good position as well. And, yeah, the Stevens ring is going to keep peeling. But I don't know. I think either or is fine. I don't really think that one is wrong, per se.
So that's going to function similar to a guard anyway. And you're right. The way to miss is to miss a bit light. You don't want to be heavy and roll off or anything like that. So we'll continue the peeling here. That rock's not fully buried. So a couple good ones from Cameron MacKenzie, second on Team Stevens. Sitting 2 currently. Team Thompson, of course, looking for a steal without. And we're going to have a timeout here. Coach Kevin Patterson will come out and have a chat. Just to plan out the rest of the end. And I know the sequence of rocks, they can have a pretty good guess at how everything will go.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what Kevin's thoughts are on this. I think it's the same debate, Selena. I think you have to decide, do we throw up the guard or do we come right in? And I think another thing, too, do you maybe look at playing a little that Yellowstone, just put it behind the tee line?
Yeah, that's going to have to be the call eventually anyway. You can't steal if you don't have your rock in scoring position. So that's going to have to be played eventually. So I think they're just going to talk about when to make that play, whether it's now or not. Probably better to talk about it now and plan for what shot you're going to play it on than tip the other team off to when you're going to do that. Though I don't think you're going to see anything but straight peels from Team Stevens anyway. They're on to mate stones now as Colten steals first. So we'll see if they change it up. Playing the come around.
That's an interesting call. I'm not sure how much I like this call, to be honest. Are they playing the come around with that ice? Almost looks like they are playing the tap.
Yeah, I think they are playing the tap, maybe with back four. Come around would be extremely tough, and I'm in the same boat as you, Carly.
I was going to say the come around then. I don't really know what that gets you.
Yeah, with that ice, it's a tap. So they're playing it now, knowing that the guard will be gone, and they'll have to continue to guard the situation, and probably in the end, so if this is made and tapped to back foot, they'll probably have another tap on Stuart's last just to sit 2 and have them in a hard position to be removed, unless the tap's so good that you just continue to guard it. So let's see what Colten Steele can do.
I really like this call. I think that if you don't move this rock now, you're going to have a really hard time stealing in this end. I really think it's critical that this rock end up behind the tee line and become a friend of yours, not a foe. So
gotta wait for the curl here. Starting to dive in there now.
looks really good. A little heavy. I think he would have liked, like I was saying earlier, just tap it to back 4 area.
Fully buried though. It's a nice nice throw from Colten. The guard's so high, like we mentioned, that you are able to access it. So Team Stevens looking to remove it fully, at least push it back behind their back 8-foot stone. At this point, it's giving Paul a chance on his last. So if Chad doesn't get this fully around, shooter may roll open, leave the 4-foot accessible. Not getting quite the amount of curl that Colten got. So the shooter will roll right out of the rings. Did manage to remove the blue stone, but did get it certainly out past the back 8-foot where their own yellow is.
So Stuart's gonna call a centerline guard, and I think I like the centerline guard. I think that it's that guard that they have right now is a little too high to hide the rock. So I think
we've just seen two takeouts behind that guard, so I don't think you can afford to have only that guard. Colten seemed to favor the hit, but that doesn't put you in a steal position whatsoever.
I think I can understand why he might want to play it. I mean, there's a theory that if you make the other team, shoot against multiple rocks, you can generate extra points that way. But I think you really need to open, and the only way you're really going to have a huge opportunity to steal is by having those centerline guards and having something to hide behind.
This one looks good. Even in the rings, it's still acting as a guard.
Yeah,
so
that's a great shot.
Great shot there from Colten Steele. 2nd to 2 in the 9th end. So instead of peeling, we're seeing the draw call. So this is a bit of a preemptive call, knowing that if they peel, they're going to eventually be facing a Thompson stone in the ring. So playing the draw now to get shot stone and say to the other team, well, now it's your turn to make a good one.
Yeah, I don't mind this call. I think especially, say, if they did play the peel on the one that's fine, you probably see the Thompson rink draw around it. And depending on if they put it in a really good spot, the run back could jam, and you'd be looking at giving out more than one. So if they can get to the 4-foot here before the Stu Thompson rink, then that's fantastic for them. So just come up a little light, and that is not going to help the Stevens rink out. And we've been looking here on Twitter, just checking in on who's all listening where and who's catching our coverage across the country. And we have a tweet here from Morgan Muse, who is originally from Nova Scotia, saying that she's loving the coverage from big YYC, which I believe is Calgary.
Yeah.
The club looks great. Warms my heart to hear all the accents.
Not just Nova Scotian ones, as we have Northern Ontario curler here beside me.
However,
Carly Jones.
I have lived here for 4 years, and every time I go home now, I feel like I can hear people talking kind of funny. I have like a mix of a Northern Ontario Halifax accent going now, which I'm totally okay with.
One of us. One of us. All right, so Stuart looking for a draw here with that bit of a miss from Chad Stevens. I mean, deep though. It's got to stop. It does stop for shot stone. I think we're going to see the same shot coming here from Paul Flemming.
Man.
Needs to be above the tee line, though. And with probably just talking about weight here with Chad's coming up, a high guard, and Stuart's going back 8 foot.
Chad looks a little infuriated about it.
What do you throw?
Yeah, it's hard to say whether or not maybe he did throw it light, or maybe the ice has changed a bit. Maybe the ice is slowing down. From what I've heard from the players, the ice has been fantastic. It really hasn't fudged up. You hear about fudging oftentimes. Just meaning once you've played on the ice for a certain number of ends, you start losing some pebble, and that tends to make rocks slow down a bit. But the players here have been saying they haven't really been experiencing any of that. So yeah, it's hard to say whether or not that was part of their conversation. But Paul will be looking to get somewhere in the top 4 foot area and make it tough for the Stu Thompson rink to steal.
Paul's had draw weight all game pretty solidly as well. And sweepers have been very good at judging. Easing up on this one makes me think that it's going to be pretty good.
It's coming in quite nice here. Just trying to get it there.
They get it to the 4 foot, almost full 4. I think the only option for Stuart now is an out-turn draw. If you can make it good, steal is still possible. Paul buried that one well enough that there may be a tap on it, but maybe not enough to move things out. We're just hearing it was a pick on sheet 4 there in a very intense tie game, playing 9. So Stuart will look to make this, get shot stone out of it.
Yeah, and
steal or force is another option. Down 2 coming home isn't the end of the world.
Yeah, and just see the angle per se here, but we'll see it in a minute. Whether or not, how you're saying if you can play a tap back on that yellow, it might even be better if you can, get as close as you can beside that yellow stone while sitting shot rock.
For Stuart's blue stone,
to
yes.
just make it that much more difficult. I mean, yeah, it's tough.
Threw a cold draw to the pin here, the other end.
This looks really good.
Looks good. About as good as he could do, I think. Paul might have that tap, but he's blue stone, I think.
Yeah,
he may have the out turn as well.
I think he just plays the same shot. I mean, it's so tough. You get stuck in between. Do we bring this back and bury it, or do we, leave it a little bit higher, making this shot a little bit more trickier for Chad? And it's just so hard in that, or for Paul, sorry. And it's just hard in that moment when you're dealing with seconds and you have to make that split decision as to what to do with the rock. But it's a great shot, and I mean, it's all you can really do is, make Paul shoot at this and put some pressure on him to make a really good one. And, if he makes it, then you tip your hat and you say good shot, move on. Yeah,
hard to make that really any better. very hard to bury around a rock that's in the top 4 foot. So Paul has a shot here. If he can stick a shooter, it'll be for 2. If he rolls away and moves the blue stone far enough for a single. Last stone, 9th end, Team Stevens. I think they're already on the guard on this though. So that will be a steal of 1 for Team Thompson. First real miss from Paul Flemming, I think. Besides the miss in the second end for the draw for 2, I suppose. So that's been a long time coming, and a tie game coming home. Team Stevens once again will have the hammer.
Yeah, that's a huge, huge steal going into the last. It's a 1 end game now.
Paul was just a little light on that one. Sweepers didn't have a chance to hold the line. And we mentioned intense game on sheet 4. Jamie Murphy picking up 2 in the 9th end as a result, and will lead Sean Adams 7-5 coming home. Adams, of course, will have hammer.
Just a quick recap of what the scenarios can be here. Chad Stevens' team already solidified their spot in the final. Now, if Murphy and Thompson both happen to win, we're going to see a 3-way tie between Thompson, Murphy, and Adams for that second and third spot. As far as I know, it's unconfirmed, but because if you go look at the head-to-head over each other, they've all beaten each other once. So it would go to the draw the button score that's been on throughout the entire round robin, and currently Jamie Murphy is leading that. So if Murphy Rink and Thompson Rink wins, we would see Murphy get a bye into the semifinal, with Thompson and Adams facing off in a tiebreaker for that 3rd spot. If Thompson wins and Murphy loses, then Thompson and Adams would get the 2 spots. Vice versa, if Murphy wins and Thompson loses, Murphy and Adams get the spot. And if Murphy and Thompson both end up losing their games, then there will be a playoff between them to determine the 3rd spot.
So what's that, 4 scenarios, 5 scenarios?
3, just 3.
Only 3?
I think, wait, no.
Both
4.
win, lose, one wins, one loses, the other wins, the other loses. Yeah, 4.
It's like 3.5.
So if you could keep track of that, great. If not, check out nscurl.com and you will see who's made it through and when the games are going to be played. The tiebreaker, if it's needed, will be tomorrow at 9 a.m. for the women at 2, and the semi for the men at 7 p.m. But lots left to play. 1 end left, but left. So there's Alex's first shot ended up kind of in between. It's a halfway guard. So it's really hard to put a second one up and get a lot of separation like in the 9th end. So what we're seeing here is, I think the call was a freeze, unless he's changed his mind and gone with a guard, even though it is hard to get the separation. Yeah, they're looking for the guard just over the hog line with as much separation as possible. Sweepers want to get this over and then let off the sweeping. And well managed. Couldn't do that much better. Those are some of the hardest shots in this game. So instead of playing the come around here, I think Team Stevens are trying to keep things a bit more open than they did last end. Got into a bit of a situation with lots of stones in play. So looking for a tick shot here from Kelly Mittelstadt. The first one we've seen called in this game. Can't remove your opponent's stones in the guard zone, but you can certainly move them around. So Stuart will do his best to ensure that Kelly removed it, but no, that's a perfect tick shot.
Great shot.
So you can play the guard again. It's such a hard guard. So freeze tap is the call here, similar to what we saw in the last end.
you play this, and then we'll quite likely we'll see Cameron be called to play the peel on the guard up there. I mean, obviously, like you were saying, Celine, the other option is to, replace that guard and force him into making a double peel. It's tough when, especially the blue guard up there, it's only about halfway. And so to get the separation on them is really tough. So this is a good call, similar to last end, to get the separation and to move that rock behind the tee line.
Really got to go line on this. Sweeper's working hard. They'll get it by. Now they're sweeping for weight. Make sure it's to the yellow. They were looking for a tap. That was before, and that only moved it about an inch. So we'll see the peel. And Cameron MacKenzie, sorry.
So where's he looking to put this one, Selena? A little bit tighter, do you think, or?
Want it too tight and offset and have some sort of run back, be able to play into that and move everything off the center line. So I don't think replacing it. We're probably not going to see two guards, a high and a tight one again. So I think probably in a similar spot is okay. They wouldn't mind leaving the right side of the rock open. That's the one that's probably going to be accessible for a tap later.
Yeah, exactly.
So just crossing the center line, and a good shot there from Travis. Travis hasn't thrown a lot of guards this game, I don't think. Just a straight peel from Cameron. Gonna have to keep seeing the same shot for a couple stones here. Without the double guards, Thompson's hands are a little bit tied in terms of shot selection. Love to make a little play on that, but you have to wait until a little later in the end when the chances are a bit lower that Team Stevens will have a couple cracks at removing all of the stones in the rings.
Looks like it's coming really nice here. Just like you said, Selena, just guard that one side, leave a little bit of the other side exposed. It's ideally, so Paul Flemming calling the peel. Just get it out of the way and make the 4-foot accessible for their last stone.
No mistake there. These guys rarely miss a peel. I'd be surprised if we saw a miss on this, but you got to keep putting up the guard and use up all their stones, knowing that Team Stevens isn't going to do anything super aggressive unless they have to. They've got the advantage of last rock, and they're currently sitting shot. So it's up to Team Thompson to make the play on the stones in the rings. A little lighter, but no sense in ignoring it if you're Team Stevens. It's the only thing that's preventing your way into the house right now.
Yeah, exactly. You really got to keep playing that peel right till the end. And I mean, Stu's going to have to make some sort of play on those rocks in the house. And yeah, so they'll keep playing this field right till the end, I presume.
Avoided any kind of jam on the side stones from Kelly Mittelstadt's hit. See the team starting to peek over at the neighboring sheet. Team Stevens curious who the semifinal setup will be to meet them in the final.
Yeah, it's so hard not to look over. I mean, for all these rinks, I mean, their fate's in their own hands now, and they just win their game. But I mean, like we've said, it's hard not to look over, especially with them being so close.
We're looking over, so I can't.
Yeah, I'm looking over.
The trouble here is, I think it'd be kind of nice if you could freeze another one in there. That's just a really tough shot, and if you ever jiggled anything around or left any separation, didn't make the freeze perfectly, then Paul's going to have a triple, and you're out of luck. So perhaps this will be tight guard. Maybe not tight enough that any kind of triple is played. Good thing about the blue and the yellow is the blue is pretty close to the yellow, just nudged it a bit on lead stones. Or second stones, I should say.
Nice shot.
So with first two stones down, Stuart Thompson will have one remaining, and we know that he's going to be making a play in there. Some teams would be very tempted. Now, there was no hesitation here on the part of Chad Stevens to go up and call the peel. Some teams would be tempted to just put a guard up and say, okay,
I think
make your play, but that tap is accessible.
Not just only the tap. I think if that yellow stone were deeper, maybe they would. However, if they play the guard, then Stu definitely still has the come around to have access to the line as well, right? So I think this is 100% the right call now. You got to force Stu into making a really tough shot here. I think he has to make a play on this, because if he were to, play the draw come around, I think Paul hits that anywhere and the blue's gone, right? Like if he were, if
you play the draw come around now, absolutely. It's so hard to get it buried at the back of the forefoot. You might be able to get it. I mean, the only half buried, but then the button's open for a draw for the win.
Yeah. Well, the only other option would be, to play the intern side perhaps and come around, and just because there is a little bit of an angle there. So just a quick little update, really quick before the shot happens. Team Adams has lost to Jamie Murphy. So Jamie Murphy has won, and we'll be waiting to see what happens here on the sheet to find out what's going to happen later on.
Lost the sweep call a bit on that. Held a bit too straight. They were looking to roll the shooter a little bit over and make this draw harder for Paul. Right now, Paul has a draw to full 8 on the button for the win. He's not going to play the double. They needed to roll the shooter a little bit more. They had the right idea on the line call. It looked like it was curling, and then just had to get off it there.
Yeah,
very close.
Just had to roll over a little bit more, but I mean, really, it's such tough, and he really did make it quite well, so he can't be too worked up about it. He's leaving a tough draw here for, well, not tough, but it's the last rock to win the game. A little bit of pressure on this one, so needs biting the forefoot here to win this game.
Kelly Mittelstadt, Cameron MacKenzie sweeping. Seem to like it. got a 5-foot diameter to draw to, or 3-foot radius-ish. Just making sure here, guiding it into the 4-foot, and that'll be game. So score 1 in the 10th then for Team Stevens with a great draw from Paul Flemming. Team ready in the final, and with the win from Jamie Murphy over Sean Adams, that's putting Team Thompson out of playoff contention. So disappointing finish there, but great week nonetheless for the first-year team, and top three of the 4 are in the playoffs. So anything else to add, Carly?
Yeah, I mean, the Thompson rink really did all they could. It was an amazing game. If any of you were here for the entire game, you would have seen how great the performance was by both teams. It really was just a matter of, a couple misses here or there, and that's how, they got the lead on each other when they did. I mean, coming home tied, and Stu did all he could, and Paul made a great shot to win. So, and then over on sheet 4, we had Murphy beat Adams, so Murphy and Adams will be playing each other again tomorrow. At what time, Selena? Will they be playing in the semifinals?
Men's semifinals, 7 p.m. tomorrow.
So yeah, they'll those 2 teams will be playing off against each other, with the winner playing against the Stevens rink at 3 p.m. on Sunday. So yeah, it was a great game. I mean, kudos to the Thompson rink. They are a young team, and they were very close to making playoffs, and hopefully we see them, stick together and keep working towards their goal, because, I mean, they got on that team and they played really well, so they should, definitely leave with their heads high and not be upset about the outcome of this, because they really did all they could, so they played well.
Absolutely. So to be clear, no tiebreaker for the men tomorrow. We'll just have the semifinal at 7 o'clock, and that'll be Adams versus Murphy, a rematch of tonight's game on sheet 4. And if you're catching the women and you're not going to be out for the last round robin game at the Mayflower Curling Club, you can catch them on Bell Alliant TV 1 right here. Sheet 3 will be Arsenault versus Breen. Important game there. And on sheet 4, Brothers versus Jones. Again, another. This will be the teams that are in playoff contention. So stay tuned. And on behalf of Carly Jones and myself, Selena Thompson, thank you for joining.
Thank you.